Welcome to the latest edition of Tales of Blue, where to say I'm delighted to be joined by this form of blue would be a major understatement. 64 goals in 176 appearances, 94-95 Player of the Year, City Hall of Fame member, a Premier League City top goal scorer, a true cult hero, and one of the most popular former players of the last 30 years. Welcome, Uwe Rosler. How are you doing, Uwe?
Very good, very good.
So born and raised in East Germany, did a young Uwe Rosler have the chance to watch much English football growing up?
Yes, we had. Actually, we had. They showed a lot of European football in our days in East Germany, and East German clubs year by year pretty successful with Dynamo Dresden, Lokomotiv Leipzig, Carl Zeiss Jena. And through those highlights in the week when they're broadcasting those games, obviously, we got a little bit of taste of English football, and there where my first love started, for the tight stadiums, for the unbelievable atmosphere. We have not seen those sort of stadiums, especially in the East. There was always a track and field, running track around the pitches. So there was always something where I always wished to play under those floodlights and those special atmospheres.
So you had spells with 5 different German sides, including Dynamo Dresden, who actually played Man City in a 91 pre-season fixture, winning 2-1. Was you part of the Dresden team that day, Uwe?
No.
You don't recall that fixture?
No, I wasn't there. I know they played, but I wasn't there.
Yeah, 91. Okay. So you travelled to England in 94 for what was supposed to be a trial match with Middlesbrough, but the game was called off due to heavy snow, I believe, and you returned to Germany. But another call comes through about another trial in England with Manchester City. How did you first hear about the trial offer for City, and what were your initial thoughts of a potential deal?
Oh, I was disappointed that the game in Middlesbrough didn't took place. Unexpected snow, and at that times there was no underground heating, so the game was called off. On the way back, I got the phone call for my agent. He said, "Would you stop in Manchester?" I said, "Yes, no problem." Landed in Manchester, trained on the day. Next evening, I played against Burnley. I scored 2 goals and signed a short-term contract and played 3 days later against QPR, my first Premier League match. So it was exciting times. I came on the back of a long injury. I wasn't fully fit when I joined Manchester City. I needed those 12 games to reach my peak form. I helped the team to stay in the league, what was very, very important. And the following season, I could show my true potential.
So how did you find sort of the early weeks at City? How did you find the training compared to what you used to be in Germany? And
yeah, I think first and foremost, I was very satisfied to get minutes on the pitch, because I came on the back of a long injury in Dresden, and Dresden had established then a striking pair where were very hard for me to break in, and so I was very happy to get minutes. I was very happy to start games, to finally find my form again and scoring goals and helping the team. That was the most satisfying moment I had, and obviously game by game, growing also a relationship with my teammates, but also with the supporters. And I remember the last game at Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday, when I was singing my name, and
we'll
my English wasn't that good at the time, so I didn't really understood what was going on. And but obviously I was very proud afterwards, and I fell in love with the place straight away. I had a good feeling when I walked through the doors. I did my homework. I knew there was a very famous German who did many years before I arrived at the club also some wonderful things for the club. And so I think the club was very German friendly and open for a German to come, and there was not many Germans at the time in English football, and I was welcomed with open arms.
So who had the earliest influence on you when you joined the club? Who do you remember having sort of the big impact on you personally?
I think obviously it was a different football. I think at that time English football was banned from European games. German football was very strong. Italian football was very strong. We played in Germany Very often a man-marking game with a sweeper in behind, so it was very tough to score many goals. I find it for my way of play, for my ability, it was good to play against a zonal defending in the back four, where it was not a man-marking. And obviously, I remember Steve McMahon took me by the side, and Paul Walsh helped me in the first games to find my feet and understand the English football culture.
So was it made clear, Uwe, from Brian Horton at the time you went for the trial that a permanent deal would be on offer because City were looking for, Niall Quinn was out injured, if I remember, at the stage. So was it made clear to you, if you're impressed, there's a deal there for you?
I mean, we didn't talk about a permanent deal, but obviously they invited me to show myself. So they was in the need of a striker. There was after Quinny's injury, there also was in a very difficult situation in the table, fighting relegation, and of course they invited me to have a good look at me, and hopefully I can convince them to take me on. And I think for me, that in the beginning was a 3 months period till the end of the season. That was good for me as well, because it was the first time I went abroad. I went to a different country. For East Germany, it was not normal to travel so much because we was behind the walls. So I think that was a win-win situation for both parties. I could see and find my feet in English football, and obviously the club had a good look at me before they offered me a long-term contract.
So you mentioned, well, kind of touched on the Bert Trautmann being at the club. You were the first German since the legendary Bert Trautmann to join, but you were soon joined by fellow countryman Stefan Karl. Did he seek your advice and what it was like at City? I know he come quite soon after. What kind of advice did you give him?
Stefan Karl joined Manchester City from Borussia Dortmund. He's originally also from East Germany, not far away where I come from Halle, and I come from Leipzig. It's only half an hour apart, so we know each other from before. I find it quite good to have another German player who can also help the team. He came on the back of a very successful Champions League campaign with Borussia Dortmund. He was a young player, but also already very experienced on international level, and I felt it was also for him a good opportunity to show himself, and certainly helped me as well.
Sure. So manager Brian Horton soon adds Paul Walsh and Peter Beattie to the main road playing staff, and it's soon clear to everybody that City's attacking force is completely transformed. Would you say both players had a big impact on your early City career, and how did you rate them as players and teammates?
First and foremost, I think I said it before, I touched it before, like the whole team and the coaching staff, and especially Brian, welcomed me with open arms. Was not easy, especially the first games. I think we played Sheffield United and Wimbledon, very physical sides, and German football was physical, but not as physical, especially when you played those two sides. And so I think Brian helped me a lot, but all players helped me a lot to understand what it needed to be successful in English football. And I have one strength. I be a good listener, and taking advices from good people on board. And there was a lot of help around me. And I tried to do my best. I tried to find a connection with my teammates. I tried to find a connection with the supporters. And obviously, I remember the first goal against Ipswich. That helped me enormously in terms of confidence. I have not scored for a while. I've not played for a while. And the first two games was very difficult against very strong opponents. So, but then after that goal, the goals came frequently. The team was winning. We moved away from the relegation place. And that was a great, great feeling. And I was very happy and delighted to sign a 3-year contract after that period.
So I have to ask, was the fist pump celebration planned, or was it something that just happened spontaneously?
No, that was planned. I love ice hockey. At the time, I was very in Germany to watch ice hockey, and ice hockey is a very popular sport in Germany. And when they celebrating, they doing that, and I said, why not? Why not doing it in football? So this is why I did it.
I'm sure you had kids all over Manchester parks doing it around that time as well. You get your first taste of a Manchester derby on the 25th of April, 95, when unfortunately we go down 2-0 at Old Trafford. But we played well that day. We're lucky not really to score first a few times. Well, what do you remember of your first Manchester derby game?
I remember the sun was shining, so this is not always the case in Manchester. I felt I hit the post, I think, after 10 minutes early on in the game, and I felt, that could have been a fantastic introduction to such a massive game. I remember Old Trafford, Man United, a top team, top players. But like you said, I think we made ourselves proud. I think we gave them a good game. Unfortunately, we lost, but I think we played a good game. I think our supporters respected our performance on the day, and and then at the time I enjoyed the derby, and the following season I always concentrate when the fixture list came out. The first look was always when we play Man United, and then a lot of Germans came over and need to organize tickets and hotel rooms, and that was very popular.
So we finished that season. I know you mentioned it earlier with the 1-1 draw at Sheffield United. Thanks for another goal from you from another Beagrie cross. The sun was shining, a huge city following that day, sing your name with real passion to the tune of that Pet Shop Boys song. I'm guessing Uwe Rosler was in a very good place at that time. So how did it feel stood there listening to that away end?
Yeah, I think my English wasn't that good. I didn't understood everything. That was in the beginning was probably good for me because I guess the opposition crowd gave me some stick as a German in playing in England. So can concentrate on my game. What was important for me. Like I said, my teammate said, they sing your name, and I said, oh yeah, is it true? Yeah, and I was very proud. It's always for players. There's always some sort of recognition, some sort of feedback that you're doing well for the club, that you build a connection to the supporters and to the club. And for me, I didn't hesitate 1 second to sign a new 3-year contract or put on the table. And at that time, I look forward for the holiday, but I even look more forward to start the pre-season again, because I really got a good taste of Premier League football, of English football, and I really enjoyed it. So
the contract secured. Was house hunting a time now for Uwe Rosler at that time? Where did you settle in Manchester at first?
No, I settled in Bramall. I stayed all my life. Even later on, when I came back and being a manager, I always stayed in Bramall. I liked the area very much. The club had sorted out the apartment for me at the time, and club was very, very helpful. I said it before. They understood that I needed a little bit of help because I wasn't so familiar with the language, and I also was a big step for me to moving away from East Germany for the first time abroad. So they helped me in all matters where they could. My teammates took me under their wings. They took me everywhere. Maybe I was a little bit boring in the beginning because I couldn't really communicate a lot with them, but they understood that I was committed to them, and they were committed to me. And throughout all those when we had get-togethers for something to eat or a beer, I picked up more and more the language, and sure that helped to socialize, and also that helped to be integrated into the team.
So despite a sending off at Arsenal on the opening day of the 94-95 season, plus a few injury issues along the way that campaign, you finished your first full season at the club with 22 goals from 39 appearances, which sees you voted City's Player of the Year. What are standout memories of that season under Brian Horton, where our form was good early at the season, but kind of it drifted away after Christmas into sort of a bit of a dogfight?
I felt the Blackburn game was a big game. Blackburn could win the championship, and we went over there and secured our Premier League status by winning the game 3-2 Monday night football on Sky.
And real Manchester weather that night.
Big game. So I remember that one. I picked up a really bad injury against Norwich home. It took me 8 weeks to recover. I was so hot on form.
Yes.
The partnership with Paul Walsh and Peter Beagrie and Nicky Summerby have been very, very fruitful, put it that way. It was not only myself scoring goals, also Paul Walsh scored a lot of goals. We looked really dangerous pair on the pitch, and supported by all the midfielders and the defenders. And I was unfortunate that I missed eight weeks, a lot of games. I thought I could have made 30 plus goals that season, and that would have probably also gave me a good chance for the Euros in 1996 for Germany. So, but I'm just missed out on that tournament.
So how was your working relationship with Brian Horton then, and how do you recall the influence he had on your career at City?
Brian Horton, I have to absolutely respect. I was so gutted, so disappointed, and when he announced after the Blackburn game that he will not be our manager next year, I couldn't believe it. I had a very, very good relationship with him. There was always a thought in my head when Queenie comes back after his injury, will I be in the team? But he found a way to play Paul, myself, and Queenie together. He was very creative in his thinking as well. So I have to say thank you to him for giving me the opportunity, and but also develop me as a football player and develop me as a person as well. It was always a lot of respect for each other, but he also has a warmness to talk to me outside football about life. About and you need anything, you be abroad. At the time, I didn't have a family over in England, so he was really caring about me, and I will never forget that.
Great stuff. So it all changed at the start of the 95-96 season with Alan Ball replacing Brian Horton as manager. What were your early impressions of Ball during that initial first period?
Yeah, I think the disappointment was there that Brian Horton wasn't there anymore. So, but I'm a professional, and I have to move on, and the club have to move on, and the decision has been made by the hierarchy of the football club. And as a player, you have to respect those decisions, and you have to keep on working. And that's what I did, and that's what we all did in the preseason. And become a new manager in with new ideas, and we changed. New players came in. We changed the formation. We changed the personnel on the pitch, and we had a hard time, especially in the beginning when Alan Ball arrived. But afterwards, we had a very good run of results, and we closed the gap, so that we in the end of the year got relegated. That didn't need to be happen, because we had enough opportunities to save ourselves, and we also been a little bit unlucky. But I think the start was very tough.
Yeah, took a while to recover. So obviously that season ends in relegation, and a few big name players leave the club. Was it an option for you to leave at that time, Uwe? Did any clubs come in for you, knowing how well you performed in the Premier League?
I think that there came clubs in, but I never really forced the issue. I never really pushed it and told my agent I want to leave, or knocked on the door of Francis Lee to let me go. I know there was some interest there, but for me was also I had a very good time footballing wise, but also in my family life. So my son was born. My first son was born in Stockport. I met my wife. I got married over there. And I never really wanted to leave the area. I wanted to basically finish my career in Manchester City. That was the aim, to help the club to go back to the Premier League. And I was in the prime of my profession, and so I didn't really force the issue to leave the club.
So with Alan Ball sacked just a few days into the new season, that City were tipped to come straight back up. We just didn't really seem to get going despite improvement under Frank Clark. But you still managed 17 goals and form a great understanding with Georgie Klopp. How did you rate the little Georgian, and what was he like as a teammate?
Yeah, in the beginning it was tough because when Georgie came in, it was very from the attacking point, offensive point. He was a completely different type of player than we were used to play the previous years. So we were very much was a team to attack over wide areas, cross the ball in the box, and filling the box, scoring goals. We had very good crossers of the ball, Peter Beagrie, but also Nicky Summerby. And now with Georgie was more like a number 10, a player who likes to get the ball through the center of the pitch, who not coming crossing in more vertical play between the gaps, more running behind the back line. So there was obviously a change of attacking style, and not only for me, for everyone involved. It took a little bit of time. We needed to find the right formation, the right system, and adapting to each other. Georgie Klopp was on the individual scale, especially technically wise, he was probably the best player I ever played with. His balance with the ball, his technical ability to beat people in very small areas was a little bit like Maradona. You can compare that with him. But football is always a team sport, so every individual has to be included into the team. And the most important thing is the team success. And I formed a good relationship with Georgie because I was used to that sort of football probably a little bit more than the English lads, because in Germany we had that sort of football. I think Georgie is a smashing fella, a great individual, fantastic player, and he's an entertainer. And I think in that time, Georgie was very, very popular.
So another managerial change with Frank Clark leaving and being replaced by former City favourite Joe Royle during the 97-98 campaign. But it's clear to see, unfortunately, we were only heading in the wrong direction and fast that campaign. How did you feel at that stage with so many changes to the club you joined and fell in love with just a few years earlier?
I really liked the period when Frank Clark came in. I got on really well with him. There was a talk about a new contract. It was already agreed, I think, with the agent and the chairman, but for some reason it never matured. I was a little bit disappointed about that. My contract was running out in my last year. I could not perform to my best. I was a little bit inconsistent because I had a bad injury. I had an ankle injury again. I was out for weeks and months, and it was very difficult for me to, in my last year of my contract, just a young family, just a young baby, to use the opportunity to be a Bosman player, and I always hoped I will end my career at City, but for me it was clear then there was no contract on the table, and then I decided to join Kaiserslautern, what was a very good move to go to Otto Reagel, to the German champions at the time, and had some great experience in Europe as well, and playing on the top of the Bundesliga. So that was a good move for me.
Just going back to the sort of the run into that 97-98 season, Uwe, you were kind of left out of the run-in. Sean Goater joined the club and Joe Royle preferred Sean at that stage. Was there a fallout with the manager during this period, or was it just for the more or less for the reason?
No. Like I said, I had injuries at the time, and when I was fit, I was playing. But then, in the end, in the run-in, I think the last 5 games, like I said, there was no contract on the table, and I think Joe understood that I had an agreement with Kaiserslautern in place, and then he opted to use the players who will be next year at the football club. So obviously everyone knows my feelings about the club. Everybody knows when I played, I gave everything what I had. And of course, I wanted to help, and I think I could have helped the club in this last 4, 5, 6 games. I don't know how many it was, but the club, the manager has decided otherwise, and I accepted that. And like I said before, as a professional, it's about the team. It's not about any individual. And when that is the case, then you have to accept that, and also in the best interest of the team.
So, as you mentioned, you eventually move on to Kaiserslautern after what we could call a whirlwind 4.5 years as a Blue, hitting 64 goals in 176 games. So how does Uwe Rosler sum up his time as a main road player?
I sum it up as a successful time, as a very enjoyable time, as a happy time, as a time where I enjoyed my football the majority of the time, but also a time where I got relegated, never got relegated before. That was hurting very much. Also a time of turbulences in the club. I remember one season we had like 5 managers. But overall, Manchester City time is on the football terms, but also on a private terms, on my family terms, the best time I had. When people ask me now, where's home? I think Manchester is the closest to home I can say, you know. So I have an affection for the area, for the city, and also, of course, for the football club.
Well, a bond was formed with the City fans, which is as strong today as it was back then. How would you describe what that means to you, to have such a special connection still now to the club, to Manchester, to the supporters?
Yeah, I think the last 2.5 years, unfortunately for Corona, I was not able to travel so much to the games. I've had to be also a little bit careful because of my former illness. So and I missed the connection. I missed to go to the stadium. I missed to see the games regular. I see it obviously all the games on the television, but it's not the same. So the plan is to hopefully to go to the Champions League final. So that is the next plan. And so I miss the city. I miss the football club, and the football club did really well for me, and I tried to do the best for the football club. And I think the chemistry was there from the first moment when I walked through the doors. And what I learned in life is always important. How you walk through the door into the door is very important, but it's even more important how you walk out the door. And I never lost contact to the football club. I always stayed in contact over the years, and hopefully the contact can be a little bit more regular now when Corona is more or less under control, because I miss Manchester a lot.
So I'm going to ask you just a few favourites. So 1-word answers only. Favourite City teammate?
Paul Walsh.
City goal?
Chip, FA Cup, Man United at Old Trafford.
Favourite away ground you like to play at in England?
Can I say 2?
You certainly can.
Spurs, White Hart Lane, and Newcastle.
Favourite manager?
Favourite manager, Brian Horton.
Favourite City shirt?
The first one. This one, yeah.
Funniest City teammate?
Andy Dibble by a mile.
So Paul Walsh or Georgie Klopp?
Paul Walsh.
Main Road or the Etihad?
Sorry?
Main Road or the Etihad?
Main Road.
Premier League or Champions League?
Premier League, because the Premier League is a testament of the work over 10 months.
Totally agree. Tony Coton or Edison?
Boah. Very difficult. Tony Coton was an excellent goalkeeper. Unfortunately, he broke his leg.
Yeah.
He was also a very, very funny person, very good for the dressing room. But I I felt he was an excellent goalkeeper. Edison obviously is world class. I don't want to make a judgment.
Okay, we'll move on for that one. True or false? Your sons Colin and Tony are named after legendary City players Colin Bell and Tony Book.
True.
When City played Stoke on the final day of the 97-98 season, you watched from the away end along with the City fans.
True.
Uwe Rosler would score 40 goals in this season's City team.
How many?
40.
Not true.
You once bought a car from Maurizio Galdino.
No, not true.
Erling Haaland will join City this summer.
Hopefully.
True or false?
I don't know.
Okay.
True.
So what's Uwe Rosler of 2022 up to?
Obviously I'm managing now for 16, 17 years. At the moment I had my contract was running out in Düsseldorf, so I had a break since last summer, and I'm eager to go back to coaching next summer and for next season. In the meantime, I worked a lot for television as an expert analyzing football matches, especially the Bundesliga, especially Holland, Borussia Dortmund, and also English Cup competitions. So hopefully I'll be back managing soon.
Uwe, it's been an absolute pleasure and an honour for me to share Tales of Blue City memories with you. From everybody on the City Match Worn Shirts page, we wish you all the very best and hope to see you back in management very soon.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the invitation, and keep going your good work.